This is Michigan's retirement coach, Mike Douglas.
So, end of year, this phase, how crazy is it for you at the office? Is it business as usual?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's a lot. We got, because, and we cover this quite a bit, but there's a year-end checklist that people need to get done in financial planning. Your Roth conversions, your tax strategies, all these things. Mm-hmm. There's also people looking to make their contributions at the end of the year. There's also people who are looking to take withdrawals out because it's Christmas time and Thanksgiving time and trying to do a year-end recap. And also, there's the stuff in the office. We're doing food drives and we're doing those type of things, which is good. And then my kids' sports schedule is picking up and everybody at the office's kids are picking up. So it's just, there's a lot of stuff. There's the Halloween and then Thanksgiving and a lot of vacation times. So it's just, I think everybody in the world at the same time of year goes, all right, guys, here we go. From November 1 in, you're like, let's just buckle in for 2 months. We can get through it together.
Remember when we were kids and how much you used to look forward to the holidays because it was such a fun time. And then you would look at your parents and they were just, your mom especially was just like, when is it going to be? And you were like, why would you wish this time away? And now here we are in our 40s and you listening to us close to retirement, 50s and 60s. It's like, the holidays, fun. Yes. Love them. Yes. But just such a different, different perspective at this phase. Yeah. Well, as Mike was pointing out, things to be done on your financial checklist, end of year planning, of course, the time frame on certain things is critical at this point. So again, if you have questions about end of year ideas, there is just a limited amount of time now left. Don't put it off anymore. 616-512-2127 or find us at michigansretirementcoach.com. One of the big subjects that the conversations that we've been having this particular end of year is around the interest rate cuts that we've been seeing. Despite the projections, was it at the start of 2024? They were like, there are going to be 6 interest rate cuts last year.
Yeah.
And then we've just started seeing a couple of them this year.
Yeah.
So another 1/4 point cut recently made. The big reason is to address higher unemployment rates. But strategist Evan Brown is saying that history actually shows us this strategy can also pay off for investors. This is what he said.
First of all, it's a strange economy right now. We're talking about that GDP is quite strong, but the labor market is soft, and we're waiting to see how that will evolve. But the soft labor market is what's getting the Fed to cut. And just history shows when the Fed is easing and the economy is holding up and earnings are strong, that's some of the best returns that you get in equities. And so I think it's kind of keep it simple. This is a good environment for stocks.
I hear things like that, though, when I think maybe he's speaking more towards somebody in their working years, 30s and 40s, because if rate cuts are good for stocks, keeping in mind who you work with, somebody who's close to or now in retirement, should that person be leaning into equities or staying cautious? Or perhaps there's someplace in the middle?
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest misnomers is the value of market timing, right? People think that, man, if this is happening in the market, I should swing. This is happening in the market, I should pull back. And I think there's small pieces of it, but most studies show that the timing of the market is about 2% of success. Balanced allocation consistently is about 92% of success. And so I think we want to keep that mindset. A rate cut does not mean go all in. It does not mean it's an opportunity to just go crazy. A rate cut means, and actually it's funny, when they did announce some rate cuts, there was actually a bad day in the market, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because of what it reflects. A rate cut is the Federal Reserve saying, hey, I think some things are not so great in the market, so we're going to lower rates to try and stimulate the economy, which is good for the economy. However, it is a sign that there's some bad numbers out there. So markets can rally and they can stumble based on economic data. Rate cuts don't replace good planning. And so we don't want to just go jump on something because of today's good news. I have some clients, Bill and Sharon, they're from Byron Center, and we were doing a regular review, and this is a couple weeks ago, but we're restructuring their accounts. They've got about 1.7 million with us. And as they're in their early 60s, where they saw rate cuts and they wanted to, shift heavier into equities. And I don't disagree with the thought process that a good market is where we want to be, right? Like you want to make hay when the sun shines. If the market's going to be good, we should participate. And I just want to make sure that as we talk through it with them, we remembered the 2020 into 2021 rally, but we also didn't forget 2022 when tech stocks took a beating and the rest of the market had to fall with it.
Okay.
So we want to build a plan that's growth and protected. So you want growth accounts, growth equities, growth positions, but also some income protected buckets, some ways that you can participate without panic when it goes poorly. So I think that there is a portion that should be in the market and should be invested. It should be going and should be kind of all in. And that was one of the discussions I had with Bill and Sharon is, do we want money in the market that we don't give permission to, right? Like it has permission to gain, it has permission to fail a little bit. And whatever money's out there should be out there doing that. But we just don't want to live and die with it. You know what I mean? So I think a good balanced portfolio. So when we went through with them, I said, how much do we want out of your portfolio? How much do we want to have in there chasing the market? How much do we want to have? Because just as quickly as a good market can go up, it can turn around on one bad tweet or one bad comment from the Fed or one bad economic number that comes in.
Yep.
So just be really clear at how much we're okay losing in a week. Right. And they say, well, and that's kind of the whole idea, because if I said to you, how much can you comfortably lose in a week? You say, well, I don't want to think of the market in week-long segments, because if it loses for a week, I want to stay in. Well, in the same way, the Fed cutting rates is saying, well, for the next week or so, it's probably going to go up until the next thing of economic data comes out. We just want to be really cautious about shifting that quickly on headlines, because the market really figures it out just as quick as we do. So if your plan changes every time interest rates do, you don't have a plan. You have reactions. We want to build stability in retirement, and we want to know exactly who we are and exactly how we handle good and bad markets. So if you're out there and that's how you feel, like I'm getting tossed to and fro with every single headline, every single opportunity, that's no way to live. There's a better way to do retirement planning, and we can talk you through what that looks like. Give us a call, 616-512-2127, and we'll set up a time for you and I to talk through these options, or you can get us at michigansretirementcoach.com. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is, remember, rate cuts do not mean go all in. And then the second thing is, retirement isn't about rate cuts. It's about income.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to retire, you need income. Growth matters, but income security matters more. So the job is to replace a paycheck, not chase headlines. When we retire, I want to know that if the market goes up, my income is there. If the market goes down, my income is still there. So we want to choose good ways of getting income, whether it's using, dividends, preferred stocks, annuities, a rule of 4%. We just want to be aware of that, because in a down market, if you're just taking from your portfolio with no strategy on how you get it out, and then the market drops 30%, are you still going to pull out of a 30% down market? Because now it's down 30%, and I took out an extra 50 grand for the year, so now I'm down 35%.
Right.
Retirees, typically, in my experience, they don't fear volatility. They fear volatility when they need income. When they're not pulling money out, then they don't care if the market's up or down for the most part, because it goes down and then it recovers and they make money.
Yeah.
But once you retire and you start taking money out of those accounts, volatility matters. The timing of it matters. So we don't want to be subject to that. We want to be more proactive. So number one, rate cuts don't mean go all in. Number two, retirement is not about rate cuts or headlines. It's about income first. And the last thing is balance wins. Balance wins. There's an interesting thing going on right now in pro sports, and specifically in the NBA.
Okay.
So my kids play basketball, all four kids. Right now it's a crazy season, because now that Emmy, she turned 10 actually just this week.
Yeah.
And so now our kids are 10, 11, 13, and 15. And they are on 4 different basketball teams. So our life revolves around basketball right now. And with that, I was watching this study, and they said that for years, the idea in pro basketball was, I need 2 or 3 stars. And then outside of that, I'm going to have a bunch of support players. So I pay a lot of money for these 2 or 3 stars, and they can carry the weight of these other guys who are not nearly as good. They're cheaper, but just get them the ball and they'll score. And if they all get 30 points a game, then we get 90 points a game. We probably win.
Okay.
Now the basketball philosophy has shifted. And what a lot of coaches are moving towards is more of like what the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing. A lot of these teams are saying, we actually want to have 8 guys to 9 guys that we can play consistently, like that we trust kind of evenly.
Okay.
They want really balanced teams where everybody can run, everybody can defend, everybody can score, everybody can do all the stuff. And the point is, that way when someone's hurt, and we've seen this quite a bit recently, Kevin Durant blows out his Achilles, or someone, Klay Thompson gets hurt, Kobe Bryant blows out his Achilles. Like those things happen. All of a sudden, your team is terrible because you balance the weight and the future of your team on one player's ability to play.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when that one player fails? Well, or fails or gets injured or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can't win games at all. That's not a good model. So instead, what they're starting to build is these teams, 8 to 10 guys who know how to get out there, run, play defense, and play fast basketball. And in the same way, balance in your portfolio matters. You want growth exposure. When the market's good, I want to make money. You got to pair that with cash reserves, fixed income, guaranteed income, Roth tax-free money. That's a good balanced thing. We want to know that we have a well-balanced, diversified portfolio. The problem is when you just use a big box model, a big box firm model, they just rebalance these models. Independent advisors adjust personally based on where you are and what you're thinking and who you are. So it's not an 800 number relationship. It's a very direct interpersonal relationship. And if your strategy is built around headlines, then it's not built around your life. That's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're nearing retirement, you need to have an income plan of how I get paid. And I want a balanced income strategy, not one superstar. And it can't just be Social Security. It just can't be if the market does well, I do well. It has to be a model that says, all right, if the market goes up, here's how much I make, and it's steady. And if the market goes down, I don't get less income. And I'm not going to hurt my portfolio by taking income. So we want to have those things set up before the next market swing. A lot of people think the market is wildly overpriced. If the market is really counting on 2 or 3 superstars or 7 superstars, which is the Mag 7, if we're really counting on those 7 companies, how stable are we?
Mm-hmm.
How consistent are we? Do we have a team that runs deep and that everybody can go? Or are we really dependent on a couple companies to give you retirement income? Rate cuts can create opportunities, but a retiree's edge isn't boldness, it's balance. Have a successful plan that makes sense for you. Give us a call, 616-512-2127, and we will make sure that your retirement plan is built not around 2 or 3 things going right, but on making sure the big things don't go wrong, protecting you from the what ifs and the things you don't know. 616-512-2127, or you can reach out to us at michigansretirementcoach.com.
You talked about the Mag 7. Let's dive into that conversation, because if you've listened to us here on Wood Radio before, you've definitely heard us talking about the Magnificent Seven and the effects of it and what it means. Of course, comprised of big tech companies, Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, aka Google, Meta, and Tesla. Right now, they currently make up more than 34% of the value in the S&P 500. But investment manager Joel Fried is telling Morningstar he's skeptical of the Mag's 7 momentum. Here's what he said.
We're talking about 7 stocks with a combined market value of greater than $10 trillion and revenues approaching $2 trillion. At some point, the law of large numbers kicks in. We think the market assumes that this group of companies will grow revenues at a compound annual rate of at least 10% over the next 5 years. This would imply the 7 stocks increasing revenue by about $1 trillion in 5 years. That's an extremely high bar in our opinion.
So, do you share his view on this? What do you say to people who are coming in? Because I know it's happening all the time. People are coming in super heavy in tech stocks. Why wouldn't they be? It's where the growth has been.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we were talking about kind of before, is that you have a handful of superstars who are going crazy, and they are really, really good. And I don't think they've hit their peak yet. So I'm going to give you a personal thought on where the future of it goes.
Okay.
Right. But I'm also going to tell you what our clients are feeling about it.
Okay.
I think that there's a lot more growth to go in these because they're so AI driven, because a lot of people are investing in the idea of AI and technology more than ever before.
Sure.
And so we're setting up for this kind of industrial revolution, a little bit of going from internet based to AI based. And so it's not just like Internet 2.0. It's a whole new way of doing business.
Okay.
There's a lot of money to be made in that. However, as a result, just like we're saying, they now represent a huge portion of, even though we buy the S&P 500 thinking I've got 500 companies, I'm really balanced. 34% of it is all in 7 companies. Mm-hmm. It's very concentrated. It's that superstar, 2 or 3 big stars mentality the NBA used to use. Mm-hmm. Well, right now, this incredible run does not equal a permanent trend, but I don't think it's going to crash out and bring the world to its knees in, in a year.
Okay.
I have a client from Ada. His name's Mark. He's 63.
Yeah.
And, his portfolio over the years had shifted towards a very tech heavy portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense because, it's kind of like if I have 5 cups and they're all half full of water. And I say, here, I'm going to split 20 ounces across these cups, right? So every cup gets 4 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really even. That's how the S&P 500 is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when one cup only gets like an inch of rain and the other cups get a gallon of rain, right? Like they become way heavier and they're completely full and they're oversaturated. And people say you could possibly get any more rain in this cup. Like that's what's happened.
Okay.
The growth of the tech world has grown so much and his portfolio reflected that.
Yeah.
He bought some shares and they've blown up and done really, really well for him. He was working. And that was a good thing. He was working, he was investing, he was saving, but now he's retired. And he went from wildly opportunistic and optimistic to now he's retired and he's concerned that what happens if this overpriced market and tech companies fail? Mm-hmm. And not like Microsoft is going away.
No, but
what if they just what if they cut back to reality?
Yeah.
Right. And that's what happens. In 2022, it happened when tech stocks dropped 30 to 60%. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he was afraid that he was going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, we don't want to abandon the tech that got you here, but we want to probably appropriately distribute it amongst some other things.
Okay.
So we talked through it and decided together that it might be time to pull some chips off the tech table and create some balance. So we didn't kill growth. We just reallocated some into predictable markets, right? There are certain things that are good kind of all the time. We call them consumer staples.
Okay.
Things that people need all time.
My dad always says people always need Band-Aids. When he was teaching me about investing when I was little, people
Yeah.
always need Band-Aids. They're always going to need hammers, Home Depot, Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah. People always need gas. They always need groceries. They need pharmaceuticals and anything related to those things.
Yep.
Well, what's related to all those? Transportation, because trucks takes all those things to all those places.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that are just consumer staples. Those are what we call value positions.
Okay.
Think like Walmart,
Yep.
Costco,
Yep.
Kroger. Those are value things, right? It's not a growth company. It's a good, solid company that sells a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you need to have some balance. So what we did with Mark is we said, all right, let's keep some money in the tech stuff, whatever the number is appropriate. But he's starting to get real skittish. And I said, do we think Google's a bad company? No. Do I think NVIDIA is a bad company? So we're not going to abandon ship. We're just going to pull some chips off, put them into predictable things, some protected income, some tax-free Roth money, some cash reserves. He noticed he was starting to feel more anxious, and anxiety affects everything. Mm-hmm. At a time in life when he should have been more focused on gratitude and the experience and the joy of getting out of retirement, or getting out of work and spending time doing things he wanted, he found himself feeling anxious and he had to get out of that. So that's what we built. It was a plan that could let him sleep again. High returns are great, but staying retired is better. We have to rebalance the market before it rebalances it for you, because that's the reality. You can pull chips off the table now and rebalance, or when those tech stocks crash down to a reasonable level, the market will rebalance it for you. You just have less money. So just take control of it. Diversification isn't boring. It's survival. The right mix actually gives you freedom. It gives you the things you want and need in life. And if your portfolio is more Silicon Valley than Retirement Valley, it's time to take a second look. We have to protect. Don't abandon your winners, but just make sure that you don't let them decide your retirement timeline for you. If this is how you want to build a plan that's more stable, successful, and consistent, give us a call, 616-512-2127, and we can build the retirement plan that is right for you, that's right for right now.
MichigansRetirementCoach.com is our website and where you can head to start the conversation. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit MichigansRetirementCoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.